Okay.
That's all.
The Canadian was careful on the other room.
Yeah.
We ready? Okay, it's 6:02. This is a meeting of the Plainfield Select Board. My name is Jim Bolts. I'm the chair of the Select Board. With me is Tim Davis, a Select Board member, and Patty Janelli, another Select Board member. Are there any changes to the agenda? Anybody else think we should?
I can't remember if I included, there were two mowing contracts that I think is.
Let me look at the agenda.
I think they are in there.
Okay, great. If not, we can add them later. All right, then no changes to the agenda. Any announcements? Yes, Michael.
I just wanted to catch people up on what happened at the Eclipse very quickly.
Okay.
There had been a prediction for 80 to 150,000 additional people in northern Vermont. It actually was, through traffic counts, it was like 160,000, not counting people from downstate Vermont. We expected that we could have severe traffic events here. We avoided most of them were up in Newport and Stowe and Waterbury and Burlington, those areas. And we had about 40 people coming into the emergency operations center, and we had one traffic incident, so everybody kept hanging out in the middle of Route 2 and almost getting hit repeatedly. But so far so good. And I wanted to thank Lori Stratton, Jody Velarde, Maggie Baird, Jen Moreno, and Mike Volofsky for helping out as volunteers in the day.
Oh, great. Yeah, thanks for them.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you too. But well, I watched it from my house. It looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, it was fun.
So open the house.
All right, any other announcements? All right, public comments? We can
Yes,
take
I
public,
could.
get to that topic if you'd like to do. Yes, somebody on the Zoom.
Yes, this is
Go ahead.
Charlie Cogbill. I have two comments, more in the realm of questions and might be answered or covered later in the meeting, but I want to just bring them up. I would like to know, first of all, what Linda Wells' official position is as of this year. Who hired her? How her compensation was set? And what budget item in the FY24 budget would cover that compensation? Secondly, and again, this might be better answered later on, I would like to know or have some details about the compensation appearing in the FY25 budget that's being considered right now for the town offices and the town clerk. Thank you.
All right, we'll be discussing those latter ones. We'll be discussing when we go through the budget.
I can
realize that,
answer,
but we have-
Charlie, I can answer you.
Okay,
Okay to answer?
go ahead.
Can I interject real
Yeah.
quick? Does anyone know the Wi-Fi password? I want to make sure I see hands up.
It's, let me write.
Plainfield hotspot, no password required.
No,
Yeah,
they
that's-
didn't ever change that.
Yeah.
It's,
Right, I thought I should announce it to the world.
It's gonna be handled here.
Yeah, smart. Thank you.
That's not even capital.
You didn't get it either.
It didn't work.
No, that's all right. We're gonna move on. I can just I'll keep an eye on the screen. Sure, be on top.
All right, public, was there any other public comment?
Sorry, I was answering
Oh,
Charlie.
yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So Charlie, Linda came on board in the capacity of advisor. Here was the situation. We were facing a massive amount of confusion regarding getting the town's financials in order.
We turn that off.
Linda was a seasoned member who knows the ropes and basically knows how to rectify things. She generously came on board. I think her hourly compensation will be roughly $35 an hour. Realistically speaking, I think she could command a heck of a lot more. She agreed to be paid in the coming year, starting in July, because we haven't budgeted this item. And the number is an overestimation of how many hours she will work. I think that in terms of formal title, I'm not sure if we formulated one, but it was we're under a tremendous amount of pressure to get the house in order, get the financial numbers in order. And so we called upon her services, and she agreed to come on board with a very generous, I think it's a deal for the town.
And it was approved by the select board, I would add.
Yes.
Yeah, at the special meeting last Thursday.
May I just comment?
Sure.
I agree that it's a very a good position for the town to be in, to have somebody to come. I do, though, think that it's highly unusual to have somebody, it isn't even paid forward, it's paid backwards. She is being compensated for a non-yet budgeted item. And I think that is inappropriate. I would hope that she would have an official position. If she's working, she should be working with an understanding, and probably written rather than verbal. And it would be clear of who she is responsible to. There are two elected bodies. There's the town clerk, who's been elected, and there's the town select board, been elected. It is totally unclear at this point whether she works under either of those, one or both. And I hope that the town will make clear what her position is. I have no problems with how much she's getting paid. I have no problems with the work that she's doing, which is very essential. What I do have a problem with is understanding what the hiring of work, job description, supervision is for this position. Note that the select board or the town clerk can appoint assistants. That's very clear. That apparently has not been done. I think the work that she's doing might come under that, or might come under working for the select board as an administrative assistant, but working in an undefined realm, I have a problem with.
Well,
Can
Charlie,
I make a motion to maybe clear this
So
up?
let's hear his response first.
so Charlie, I think that you make some very, very good points. And I think that we really work very hard to safeguard the taxpayer dollar. And I want you to be assured that Linda is not acting as a lone wolf, and we've been in full communication with the select board, and we are working together to resolve a crisis situation. If we were in a mode where it wasn't a crisis situation, we would be following the letters of the law and dotting our I's and crossing our T's. Unfortunately, we're in a position where we were, basically it was an emergency situation. Now we can, if you feel comfortable, if the select board wants to pass a motion and you want me to give her a formal title, and we could even get her to sign some sort of agreement, I'm completely comfortable with that. But understand that this endeavor was taken to safeguard the taxpayer dollar. If Linda was not on board, I don't think, even if I had brought in professional accounting team, they would not be able to produce numbers that would satisfy the town meeting requirements. I mean, we're really against it.
Point of information, please.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Kristen Brodsky and Carol both are not elected officials. I think they are also brought in to fulfill administrative tasks. And it might be a simple matter of just designating her as being a temporary employee under Graham's supervision.
Yeah, sure. So Brad, I just want to clarify something. So Linda is working for the town now?
Correct.
Is she being paid now?
Not being paid now.
Okay, I guess I didn't realize that.
Well, the reason is that this was not a budgeted item. We thought it better to start to pay her back in a sense and start in a new year. We can change that. I mean, we can do whatever is prudent. I want to have full transparency and I want everybody to feel comfortable with what we're doing. So whatever you guys would want is fine with me. I mean,
The plan right now is you're keeping track of her hours and she's gonna be paid later for the hours.
correct.
she's doing now.
That's it.
And that's good, and that's what's in our budget. That
I think, yes, that would
What's in
be a
our
rough
proposed budget.
estimate of what, I was talking to her, and
Okay.
it's probably an overestimation of
Right,
what we think it will cost.
right,
I think Charlie makes some excellent points.
yeah,
We do not want to sort of casually, hire people and not have their roles defined. I think that's a very excellent point. I think that given Linda's decades of service to the community and her standing in the town, I probably should have embraced this in a more formal way, but it was a kind of all hands on deck situation. So I apologize if it gave confusion to anyone about what's going on, but we were just trying to right the ship.
go ahead.
Well, all right, so I would like to make a motion that we officially appoint Linda Wells.
Yeah.
Linda Wells as a consultant to the Plainfield Town Clerk on a temporary basis. How many hours was in your estimation for the
I don't,
roughly?
I think it's a rate of $35 an hour, and we're through June, I think it was, and I think we came up with a number of an overestimation of $14,000, and I don't have the math in front of me. In terms of-
Okay, so I move we appoint Linda Wells to be consultant to the Plainfield Town Clerk up to the amount of hours that is equal to $14,000 of compensation, at which point, if more work is needed, I'm assuming Bram will come to the select board and
Absolutely.
request it.
Absolutely, and I want to make it clear, Charlie, that we really
400 hours.
But not $35 an hour.
No,
But
but
at $35 an hour. Thank you, that was once again a jumbled motion, I could restate that.
Yeah, you should for Kristen, remember.
Okay. I move that we appoint Linda Wells to be consultant to Plainfield Town Clerk. Up to the amount of 400 hours paid at $35 an hour. With the understanding that if further hours are needed, new approval will be sought from the select.
Point of information.
Yeah.
Is there, in that appointment, or do we usually appoint people to complete all their work before any payment comes out? Does that need it? Like, if she's only gonna be paid out in FY25 and all of her work is in FY24, is there anything additional that we need to do in that appointment?
I don't think so.
And or is there any wiggle room in FY24 budget to actually pay for some of this?
I haven't explored the possibility of paying her out of the 24 budget. If there arrives some sort of complication, I will go to the select board and be very clear. Charlie, I want you to understand that the select board has been part of the process here, and we're not, everybody's sort of communicating. So.
Charlie, does this motion satisfy your concern?
I had questions. Many have been answered. I still
Okay.
have concerns.
Okay, all right, so you've restated the motion? Right. All in favor?
Alright,
Aye. Okay, it's for the record, for Kristen, it's unanimous. Are we done with this item? That was part of the public comment. Any other public comments? Yes. Okay. Next is the town clerk's report from Brad.
Right, so I prepared the budget for 24-25, obviously you guys have had a lot of feedback in this, and I tried to explain a lot. I want to once again thank Linda for going through files and tracing down items. Now, there's one thing, there were two items that need to be discussed. The first, I think Michael is here and we can talk about the 2015 truck. But the other item, which I did not put in the budget because I think ARPA funds might be available, is for town audit. I think that I speak for Linda and everybody feeling that having an outsider come in and go through the books would be prudent. And if we can expend ARPA funds for that, great. If you're comfortable with that. If not, I'd like to add a line item in the budget, and my guesstimate is it would be about $28,000. Once again, this is a significant expense, and I don't make this recommendation casually. It's just that I think an outside pair of eyes coming in and just going through stuff. It's not that I think that anything is wrong in any kind of sort of really nefarious way. It's just that there hasn't been the standard of record keeping and so forth that I think would be necessary to feel make the taxpayer feel comfortable. So, I would make that that request. And if you want to talk about that, Noah, or talk about specifics, or talk about the truck.
Yeah, where we are in the agenda is not the overall budget.
I'm sorry.
We're at the notice of need for town maintenance person.
Okay, great.
And after which is the request of approval of mowing contracts.
Okay, great. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I jumped the gun. Okay,
Notice
so
of need for town maintenance.
we have two mowing contracts to consider. One is the person, Mr. Dexter, for $7,500 will mow the road. He has one of those machines that mows the side of the road. He did an excellent job last year. I would note getting
The side of which road? All the roads?
All the back roads.
Yeah,
He makes-
okay.
He makes two
You said
passes.
no road, and make sure we.
We've had him in a contract for the previous 3 years prior to
That's what I
that.
thought.
and he does good work. And let me just say that finding somebody to do the work and to show up and to do it right is a challenge. So,
Right. All right.
that's one, and the second one is Jason Cushing has done.
But on that one, you need a motion.
Oh, yeah, but the first one,
Yeah.
that would be good.
It looks like he's willing to lock in a 2-year contract at the same price.
Yes.
Which seems
Yes.
prudent to me, so
They look for them.
I move that we approve the proposal from Donald Dexter for roadside mowing at the amount of $7,500 per year for a 2-year agreement.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay,
Great.
next
And the
item
second
is
one is,
request is needed notice for town maintenance person.
Or there was the second
well,
one.
the other one is.
Oh, the other one, I'm sorry. the other
Ja-
contract.
Jason Cushing has done an excellent job with the rec fields, the water plant, other areas in the town. You guys don't have to worry about the water plant, that's a separate thing, but he gave a contract, and I didn't get the I don't have the figures for he gives the price per mow. I think I couldn't find it in the minutes, but I think that we actually had the idea of having him be on an extended contract as Mr. Dexter is. Once again, he does a good job, and he's excellent, and those rates are great, and we budgeted basically what he did last year. What it costs obviously depends on the weather. If you have a very dry season, there isn't as much mowing and so forth. But those are the rates out there, and he does an excellent job. So
But you don't have the rates.
I don't have the.
I don't think we can approve it with this.
Oh, sorry, that's fine. I'll
Per mow,
Oh, if you have.
It's 275. He does not say how many times he plans to.
Right, no,
mow,
no, I
but That
know.
appears to be needed.
No, I'll give you, the mowing, the mowing goes into different accounts. And I couldn't get the total. I emailed him to give me what his rough totals are, and I couldn't track it down in time for the meeting.
So
But
this
if we
letter
can-
from Jason Cushing is not with a bunch of prices on it, is not,
No, it's the prices per mow. okay,
yeah,
for
so
the-
it looks
but-
like town locations total 275.
Right, no, but.
Per mow.
Per mow, but
Yeah.
you know, I would have liked to have given you, oh, it's, you know, $5,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
This and that, if, we can hold off till next meeting. So I can give you the exact price, but I think Jason. Would like some, assurance that he's gonna be hired on as he's been hired on for the last number of years.
Oh.
And I'm sorry that I couldn't get the exact figure for what his total is. And I'd also love to have the idea of him locking him in for a multi-year contract if possible. So we can bring it up next meeting. We budgeted what we budgeted last year for mowing.
Okay.
But if I talk to him, I just want to have you guys give consideration that he's done a good job and we're not just gonna drop everything and hire somebody else.
That sounds fine to me.
Is this a good approach where I could ask, I could say something,
Yeah, yeah.
if we have these people that have proven their excellence.
Mhm.
We can't just hire them again,
Yeah.
they prove themselves to us, and they've done a great job, so why would we
Well,
just?
I think that the argument on the other side would be, this is a public, as it's a public expense.
Yeah,
We should put things out to contract and in a general way, in a general out to bid.
Right.
And have a number of people compete, and I think that formula works very well in a bunch of cases, but with certain jobs. Like mowing, the side roads, the rec field, it's very difficult to get good people, and in fact. We are in need of somebody to do the sidewalk sweeping because our current guy who's very good doesn't want to do it next year. So
And this mowing contract, by the way, we did bid it originally when we hired the guy that you did.
Correct.
And so we did have a bid at that time, he was the winning bidder, and he's been doing it, and we like him, so staying with him makes
Okay,
sense.
so I'll tell Jason to get me the figure. I've already asked him, but we can do that, and then next meeting we can I'll have him put together a multi-year.
Yeah, there's two parts, there's
Right.
what's the total amount we'll put in the budget for mowing, which we can decide without the contract.
Right,
And then we can't approve him being hired without seeing the contract.
right, exactly. So I'll pass on your
Okay.
confidence in Jason and
Yeah.
get that straight. Right.
His prices look good.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable hiring him.
Right, yes,
I
okay,
just feel comfortable hiring him because he's done a good job and he's been doing it with us.
yeah, okay, well, any other, right, so that's, what about the notice of need for town maintenance person? That was one of the other.
Well, okay, so in terms of the town maintenance person, we have 5 candidates who are interested in the position. And in order to proceed, what might be good is there are some insurance requirements and if whatever the select board feels comfortable doing, we can proceed. So we can, in a general sense, the job entails a not specific number of hours, basically on-call work for both the municipal building and the town hall opera house.
For cleaning this thing.
For cleaning and also sometimes maintenance, might require a little skill in certain areas, like
Plumbing and electric.
that sort of thing. And if you want, since there are insurance requirements and so forth, I can bring the candidates in. If one of the members of the select board wants to join me, and then we can screen some people, or you can, however you want to proceed. But I think the best course of action would be to give them a view from 50,000 feet of what the job is, have them come down, maybe with the members of the select board and myself, and sort of whittle down who would be good, who wouldn't be good. It's not, budgeted right now, I think it's $4,500 as I recall. So it's not a tremendous amount of money and perhaps some of the candidates won't be. I haven't said too much because I wanted to talk with you guys and just to figure out. So if you want, next week, I'll schedule some interview preliminary kind of screening and see who might
I
be.
think that for me personally, a letter of interest, like a description of their experience would be a good first step, and then maybe in person, because there might be some people that, when they hear $4,500, don't want to talk to us at all. And some people that don't have insurance, and some people that are just don't,
Great, okay, so I'll request a letter.
That's what I think.
Well, yeah, I think that's fine. I think the idea would be, from my perspective, the best thing would be for you to explore each of them and then make your own decision about who you think's best. And then maybe we meet with your choice
Okay,
and see if we agree with you,
okay, that's
or the top two candidates or something like
okay,
that.
and I'll try to give you,
Yeah.
I'll give you a summary, okay,
Yeah.
I mean, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's great.
Patty, you're-
Like, I've been doing handyman work for 10 years, and I'm so-and-so, I'm from such a town.
Right, okay, that sounds good,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
proceed with that.
Great. Okay, discussion of the child care payroll tax.
Right, I have actually, I meant to do a couple, but I only had two printouts. I gave one to Tim. So there was a new payroll tax that it's called the child care contribution tax. And I believe it's for we have a daycare crisis. I think that's the use of funds. It's funny, I haven't explored so much the use of funds, but more the mechanics of what I'm supposed to do in terms of quarterly reporting and so forth. This is not a huge, I mean, I think that I budgeted $1,700. I think it'd probably fall closer to $1,500. It's not a huge tax. There's no choice about this.
Right,
It's
yeah.
basically it is something that everybody will pay, and it's so we're gonna.
My understanding from talking to Carol, sorry, because Carol's talked to me about this quite a bit every time I stop in, and the only choice we have is, do we want it to come out of their checks, or do we want to cover it as a town? In my personal opinion, since it's so little, the wastewater people are already agreeing to cover it for their employees, that we as a town should cover this small things.
And I would agree with that. I think that it would be, I didn't discuss it. I think that if the wastewater people decided to do it, I think that, I don't think it's a good idea to have a different policy for all other employees. And once again, this is not,
It's 0.44%. It's less than 0.5%.
I mean, so I didn't think it was particularly. Onerous.
If you have us paying for it, is that adding kind of accounting complications for you?
Well,
Because now it didn't come to that.
I mean, it's the quarterly reporting, I'm just getting in the midst of all that. I mean, I don't think it's no, I don't.
Okay.
I mean, it's
All right. Well,
just another.
It becomes
form.
income to them. So then they have to pay tax on it.
Sorry.
Unless there's an
I think it
exemption.
would count as a benefit from the town.
Okay.
Same way we cover part of
Right.
the health insurance or
Right.
something, that's my understanding.
Yeah, I think.
Carol already really wants us to cover this.
Yeah.
I think she deserves it.
All right, I'm fine, okay, I'm fine. You wanna make a motion?
I move that the town covers the new child's care payroll tax as a benefit to town employees.
Okay, all in favor?
Alright,
And here's a printout on.
Yeah, we got
tax
that.
If you want,
Here we
there's
got it.
one there and read another one.
yeah.
Okay, so that was approved unanimously. All right, Graham, now we're up to this approve amended town budget.
Right, so I don't know if there are, specific questions, the two large outstanding items that I would say are the question of the audit and the town truck are the two items that are not currently, I mean, when I say that the town truck is not included in the budget, let me just say that we have increased the equipment fund significantly from $50,000 to $80,000. I would note there are towns that have 100 neighboring towns, but we have increased that, so we're making a gesture, and you know, it's something that, I think you guys are sort of familiar with the numbers. Basically, the truck is 70, and then all the equipment on the truck is another 70, so it comes to 140, big price tag. There is a, program that opens up in June for a low emission diesel vehicle program that we could possibly discount 30% of the price of the truck, not the snow equipment. And I gave notice to the people that were very interested in that program. So you know, we can talk about that, and I think maybe Michael can speak to what the need is and so forth, because
well, the truck's 9 years old, it does the village, it puts a lot of salt on, it's very rusty. We've put countless amounts of money into it in the past 4 or 5 years. When we did the Main Street bridge down here, the old 10-wheeler that we just replaced got pushed back a year. That didn't help things, and now this is getting pushed back another year. So it's come February when the inspection runs out, I don't believe it's gonna pass inspection without a lot of money to be dropped into it, and I don't feel comfortable putting one of my employees in one of those trucks to, when it's not safe for the road, to clear the village, so.
Anyway, so the truck is the new one will cost how much?
I don't have the exact
Oh,
number.
very-
it's roughly, I mean, I think just the ballpark number would be, it's like 70 for the truck and then another 70 for the, it's like 140.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Which is a lot of money.
Yeah, but it can be financed over a number of years.
Yeah, it could be financed, and also we might get a discount on the pickup itself. We might get, that portion of it might be discounted 30%.
Okay, all right. So do you need us to decide something tonight?
Well, I mean, it would be if you,
It's something we would add to the budget, and then we. approve the
well,
budget.
I something, yeah, I mean, I think that, yeah, if you're gonna be approving the budget, I think we ought to, you know, maybe
Okay.
put some sort of,
Okay.
either increase the equipment maintenance fund or.
Yeah, my question is how to put it in. I'm assuming we don't have an extra $140,000 laying around.
No. No, we don't.
So
We-
would bumping, if we were going from $50,000 to $80,000, then we bump that to like, let's say 100.
Mhm.
Would that 40,000 cover
Right.
the down payment while we pursue that other 33% off or whatever?
Let
I'd
me
love
be,
to get that.
right, let me be clear, we could, you know, I think we could probably cover the down payment with 80, but there's a lot of other equipment and there's a lot of other things that can go wrong. So, you know, I think maybe going up on that equipment front from 80 to 100, I know 50 to 100 is a huge jump. But I don't know, what concerns me is just if we. You know, if we have the truck down in the village, that would concern me.
So I just have a question about, what is it you're recommending exactly? To do what was the budget on related to this item?
Well, my recommendation would be to go even higher on the equipment, or the,
So
whatever,
raise the equipment budget from what to what?
from 80, from now it's, in the current budget, it's 80, go to 100.
Okay, and then that's it, or is there another?
I think I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that would, you think that would.
I think so.
Okay, so, okay, 80 to 100, okay.
I mean, kind of like he said, there is a lot of equipment and for the replacement cost of all that stuff is
Okay.
significant.
Mhm. But I think I heard you say that the other truck is just not, it's with wind. It's not.
No, we put a lot of money into it in the past
It's done.
3 years.
Are you including a sale price, resale price somewhere?
There is no resale price.
Is there equipment attached to it that can be salvaged and sold? Or is it pretty much a loss?
It's all pretty beat up, and I mean, it's had salt go through it for 9 years, so. It's pretty rough.
We discussed this at the budget meeting, I thought, didn't we had our budget. For the truck,
Well-
or is this? something-
Yeah.
Well, no.
We talked about it way back. when we-
Okay.
But there's
We
somebody.
never came to this.
Yeah. Well,
Is this a one-time allocation or would this be a recurring allocation of 100?
Well, I
For that
personally
line
think,
item?
I personally think that we should have, larger allocation. I think we can revisit it next year and maybe, I don't know that we will be 100. I think right now it would be good to be at 100. I think that there are a couple of things going on, and I just want to speak to, I just want to speak to taxpayers regarding these sorts of expenses, because I do think that there has been concern. And I think that in an instance, we really came up short for the taxpayer in terms of getting rid of equipment and buying new equipment. Those days are over, and we're going to be very careful about what is bought and sold, and we are going to make sure, like Michael, you brought up, well, what can you get for the old truck? We'll get something, but it's not really, it's not going to be like it's not going to be anything substantive. So
I guess I'm wondering if we could have perhaps a 5 or 10 year plan on what that rotation looks like what would be an appropriate time to retire a truck, also thinking about potentially if you might be able to. So you don't let it get so bad that you might be able to salvage something, but it seems like then we could figure out perhaps if 80 a year is good, or potentially bumping it to 100 on specific years when we know we need to purchase.
I think
Versus just kind of
absolutely
going year to year.
I think that approach should be applied not just in terms of maintenance equipment. It applies to everything to do with the town. And once we get out of the mode we're in right now, we're really just trying to stabilize things. Once we get out of that, we can really address. There are a whole series of maintenance issues with town buildings and other things, but you're absolutely right. It should be.
Vehicles they're difficult to get
Absolutely.
to the acquisition problem. They're main.
And also just to note, with the changing weather, we also have challenges in terms of, you will note that there's an increase in the gravel budget. We talked about that. We're using a lot more gravel. We're having more mud seasons. The competition for these resources is increasing. So it's very prudent to look to the future and see what's needed. You're absolutely right.
So,
It's a good strategy.
yeah, on that, this budget discussion is going to take a long time. And I'm thinking many people are here for the Bean Road. Maybe we could just stick to that topic and get that done, and then they could head out and we could.
That sounds great.
I would like quickly just say, like, over the next couple of months, if you could try to put together like a progress report on the state of all the equipment that you have. And like what you expect it will need to be replaced, like.
I can get a replacement cost on what everything costs
And just like how many years you think are left and everything, like, so we can see it in writing, and then we can try to budget every year a little better to buy.
Yeah,
ahead of time.
yeah, following up on Mo's point, which is, I think ideally you figure out what the life of the vehicle ought to be, and then you try to trade it in while it still has some value. But what happens is, in any given year, you identify a vehicle, well, we're at that point now, but oh, you know what, the vehicle's still working pretty well, and we can get another year out of it, and we don't want to have a big budget hit by buying a new truck right now. And so we go another year, and it just, and then all of a sudden the truck's too rusty and you can't, and that's that's actually what happened.
Deal with that with state.
Yeah,
vehicles
right.
also.
So just to wrap up that point. Michael, is it quick?
Yeah, well.
Was it about establishing?
Shouldn't be, but anyway, no, I had a general budget question.
No, then we're not doing that. We're finishing with the truck and we're going to Bean Road.
Oh, all
If
right.
it's not about the truck,
Chance.
you'll get a chance when we come back. Bean Road. So did you see I got it, heard from the attorney and the, and Karen, and so.
So it sounds like the certified letter she sent out.
Right. Did you two see what I sent
did see
around?
that.
All right, so we have to decide whether we want to go ahead and ask the attorney to go forward and take the next step. That's gonna be, he said $1,500 approximately.
Like some, 4,500 or something.
Well, eventually, yeah, but to get started. But the problem is with a lawsuit, once you start a lawsuit, you can't just suddenly say, oh, never mind.
Right.
The court has to give you permission to withdraw. And so it could end up being a difficult, it ended up being an expensive undertaking. So I think maybe it would be better to not make any decision tonight about that. Maybe
Why?
have Graham, because we need to look at we have to finish the budget and talk about it in terms of the budget.
Yes.
can afford to do.
I mean,
I'm
we've
sorry,
been
that's a
waiting.
reality.
I know, we've been waiting
I know you have.
and waiting,
Right, yeah.
and it's just getting out of hand.
Alright.
So now we have the opportunity. to
Summer's
go
coming
forward.
again. So the bears will be going through their trash pretty soon.
Yeah,
Can I have like a tiny synopsis, a
what?
tiny synopsis of what's going on?
Happy New Year.
For almost 5 years now, we've had a small trailer that was only supposed to be there for 6 months, purchased from M's RV. For a woman who was a drug dealer. She has passed away, all right, it's nothing but a dump, everything's dropped there, there've been drug dealers in and out. She died in April, now her son feels he has every right to move in there and live there. Year round, even though it's a seasonal spot, he's brought in more junk, there's junk cars, there's a small child, he's 11 years old. Now he's running his mini bike up and down the road, we have a dog that's pinned myself and my husband, Michael Nolan, in our home or garage. And wouldn't let us out,
It's a pit bull.
it's a pit bull, yes, and Karen has done letters up, told him he's in violation. Basically, he's not gonna do anything, and been told, I think Brian asked, if he knows it's a daily fee for him staying there and being in violation. And now a hot tub has been delivered.
Yep.
After he was told he could not hitch up to the water or to the septic, but he has.
Let me just comment on here, I just have some familiarity with this, a couple of things, first off. All the Plainfield taxpayers should understand that they're subsidizing this mess because this individual is being taxed as if they're just being taxed on land. And that's been true for 5 years. So this mess is being subsidized. Now, a grave error was made in my judgment by previous board not to aggressively pursue this matter due to legal costs. And unfortunately, it's gotten more expensive.
Yeah.
But I want all you to know that the select board has tripled the legal budget in this upcoming year. So it is my view, I mean, that the select board is taking this matter very seriously. And, they can speak for themselves, but once again, I don't think the next couple of years are gonna be like the last in terms of attention to this issue. So if there's any consolation.
So if you guys would like, we can instruct our attorney to start the process.
What is this?
Are you trying to evicted out?
Yes.
What is the starting of the process is $1,500 to,
He said, yeah, he said we can discuss this in executive session because it's litigation, but we don't necessarily need to if at this stage there isn't any particular. Strategy that we'd be discussing that we wouldn't want to reveal to the defendant. So I don't think at this point we need to go into executive session. I think we just need to decide to authorize him to start to file a complaint, to bring suit against them, to get them evicted.
but once we do that, we're locked into.
Well, maybe not. I don't know if we're locked in, but I
I
might
don't wanna
not.
sound like a jerk, but I can't imagine these people have a very expensive lawyer and they wanna drag out the legal proceedings.
No, they probably don't.
You know, so we-
He said initial stage is 500 to 1,500, so if we have 6,000 in our budget, why don't we go ahead and start?
Yeah, I think it's been long
Yes,
enough.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll
Did
call
you talk to
the
him?
lawyer and.
What's that?
We had conversation.
No, we do not approach him,
don't?
don't feel safe.
Okay.
Just
No.
to
I talked to the mother once because my grandson was there and the
Yeah.
kid was over there with the grandson, wanting him to ride the go-kart and the
Yeah.
motorcycle down the road, no, you're no.
just, Patty, over the years, I've talked to the individuals involved, and this situation, I think. The neighbors that are here and a wider swath of neighbors has been exceedingly patient. And tried to, even with the previous owner, to have things go in the right direction, and unfortunately. You have a series of people who've made very aggressively bad choices and played the system, and I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from.
We're down here, Pace here, we're neighbors, hi,
Yeah,
and just wanted to tell you,
yes, thank you very much, we
Something we wanna-
appreciate it.
Sure, so I mean, we tried to start it with Karen.
Yes.
With mailing them the notice, but they didn't accept the
Yeah.
delivery of it, so now we have to go to the next step. Which I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'll
Yeah.
ask the lawyer.
Yeah,
to take
keep
the
us
next step.
informed,
Yep,
that'd be great.
yep, I will.
I don't know if a motion was made, but
I move that we authorize the lawyer to take the next step.
Authorize me to talk to the lawyer.
I move that we authorize our select board chairman to talk to the lawyer about the authorizing the next step.
One lawyer to another.
About-
Yes, there's a lot-
Authorize me to talk to our lawyer about taking the next steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please keep us on the agenda,
Sure.
we're glad to come back,
All right.
and, yes,
Well, as soon as I hear something from him, I'll send you an email.
sounds good.
But every time I hear from him, I'll send you.
Mhm.
You guys have someone with their hand up.
I don't know that it will necessarily, Chris, she lives on B Road.
Chris Totner.
Or has an interest there.
Mhm.
Chris, did you want to say something? Chris Dittmeyer?
Yes, I just wanted to, on behalf of the other neighbors who are on the Zoom, to thank you for moving ahead with this.
Okay, you're welcome. Sorry it took so long.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll call him and get this started.
Great.
We have to vote on
We just did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. It's unanimous that I'm authorized to call Mike Turner, our lawyer, and have him start the process. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Against Bean Road, yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Now we'll take some body heat out of here.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for your patience.
Happy to have you stay if you want to, but I thought.
Okay.
Get my, I thought you were here at the truck.
No, we won't talk about.
Okay, I have one more question about it, but you're looking back,
Just slow.
how will you guys know what's going on?
Tell them an email. I'll
Okay,
copy,
okay.
I'll copy you guys and I'll tell
There
you.
you go.
All right.
Yeah, well, you know I will, Michael. Thank you.
Okay, bye, Kim. All right, back to the regular agenda. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, the printer, oh, good.
I think that this was left on the table.
Bean Road, so now we're back to budget. We were doing the budget. That's been. Copy of the budget. All right, so other items that you want to bring to our attention?
There, let's see, nothing, nothing jumps out at me.
Okay, I had a couple of questions.
Sure, if there's anything.
Yeah,
go
so-
go ahead.
At the, near the top of the first page, I think it is, where you have the zoning administrator. And no, not the zoning administrator. Oh, I know, yes, the zoning administrator. The salary that you have in there, is that gonna be enough to hire a new zoning administrator? Because Karen is planning to retire at the end of the June, I think she said.
You know, one of the challenges we have, and I think it was Mo talked about planning for the future. I think this is a good case in point. We don't have anybody on deck, and I'm not sure, I don't really have a good answer to that question in terms of if we could get somebody who has an interest in this area, and I don't know if compensation is the main issue. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
either, yeah.
So in answer to your question, I think we can.
Well, what we have in there now, she didn't ever use that much. Use about half of what's in there now, so maybe what's in there now is enough to get us started.
I think perhaps if we get somebody who is very good and sees a great way of using the resources and needs to get paid, I think we should, and perhaps in trying to entice people for this difficult job, we can say the select board be open to listening to what your ideas are regarding budget.
Okay.
This is an appointed position.
Yeah,
It is an appointed
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, zoning administrator, it's the third line down from the top.
She's been for a long time, right?
Yeah.
He's been for many, many years, and we have a number of people.
And she had the advantage.
Right, and this
Yeah,
speaks to one of the challenges of, having volunteers is that, we have a lot of longtime people who are stepping down.
Right.
Tim Phillips from the water department and so forth.
Okay, hang on. Karen wants to, the current zoning administrator would like to speak. Go ahead, Karen, please unmute yourself. You're muted. You're muted, we can't hear you. We still can't hear you. You're just waving goodbye?
You need to turn on your
You're
microphone.
still muted, Karen, we can't
You
hear
need
you.
to click on your microphone.
You're muted.
there,
Okay.
I do Google Meet all the time, so Zoom and my computer's not working, so I'm on my phone, so I'm just struggling completely.
All right.
So I've been working there since I think sometime in 2010. And it's a wonderful job and I love doing it, but I've been doing it for a long time and I need to do other stuff. So, I'd like to get end in like the end of June would be my preference. I know that's kind of like it's a little bit of a short notice because I know it's hard to find people who are willing to work in the public sector right now. But I'd be willing to help train and the next person who would like to take on this responsibility.
And I
The
just
hard-
want to thank.
The
just
hard
wanna
part
thank-
about
Go ahead.
the hard part about the job is dealing with the sort of violations and that kind of legal, that part is one of the most difficult parts of the job.
Yeah. I just want to thank you for all the great service, because I've worked with you since I've been in the DRB for like 5 or 6 years now, and you've done a great job. We couldn't, the thing wouldn't function at all without you, so it's going to be very difficult to go forward without you, I think. Even if we find,
You'll find some.
okay, good, I hope
So
so.
we should advertise it maybe on the town website as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So anyways, I have enjoyed the job. It's just, it's time for me to move on.
Yeah, understood, thank you. All right,
You're
next
welcome.
thing was the town clerk treasurer. I looked at this the first time, I thought they were both in here twice.
I saw.
Is that not the case? Okay, it's not.
It is here twice.
Yeah, town clerk treasurer,
Yeah, right, 2 places right
yeah,
here.
it comes in twice, okay, so I didn't understand.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, one's town clerk treasurer, one's assistant town.
Yeah.
treasurer.
Oh,
Yeah,
So that would be Bram and
all right,
Carol.
yeah, all right, never mind. I'm reading that, but I saw it twice, anyway,
This is-
so never mind. Any other questions about the budget going through here, anybody? Yeah, Michael.
I had a general question that I can't really see the answer to, so I just asked it. For everybody that hammered out their part of the budget, whether it was a committee or in a town department. Is it assumed that unless we got feedback to the otherwise, that what was decided in our interactions during the time we hammered out the budget is pretty much what's in the budget?
You have to look and see.
That's my understanding.
Well, I didn't know because it keeps changing and I don't.
No, I mean.
I don't think we've changed any of the things that we.
So which items are you concerned about? Which ones are yours? Yeah.
Well, it was emergency management.
Yeah.
And
What's in here, I can't tell you off the top of my head if it's the exact same number you asked for. And I can't tell you that by any of the committees, I think most of them were satisfied, we worked it out with them, so they were satisfied.
okay.
So as far as yours,
You had asked for $2,800.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's what's in there.
Yeah,
And there was another 500.
I know that it wasn't our intention to change any of the things we agreed on.
Yeah, okay,
Those
that's,
meetings, so our, my
that's
understanding
fine.
is they're all.
Yeah, I just pretty much thought that would be true, but I wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I don't remember.
not everybody got everything they asked for, but that we explained to them at the time why we were doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
Can someone explain to me how to raise my hand on this thing?
There's a, it's
Well, I have
something,
my hand,
It should be a little.
there's a little symbol.
I can't find it though.
I'm seeing, no.
I do have a question when you have an opportunity. I want to get back to the audit.
The audit, okay, do you want to take a question on that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Karen.
Are you, you said 20, you thought maybe $20,000?
I think it's between, my guess would be between $25,000 and $30,000.
25 and 30,000. Are you considering an internal audit or a forensic audit?
Well, I would say, we can discuss the particulars. I thought it would simply be a regular external audit. I think that the forensic audit would have been, more expensive, and I don't know. Well, I don't know what I don't know, but I thought that beginning with a traditional audit would be appropriate, but if you feel differently, please let me know.
No, I think that starting with the traditional audit makes sense. They may then recommend that we take other steps that might include a forensic audit at that point. But I don't see any basis for doing it right at the start.
I recall when I first started with the board, that there was a condition to all the state or federal funding that we received for the flood relief and all that, that we have to do an audit.
We do.
We had talked about not doing it this year, but the following year. So it was something that we were planning on definitely doing because we're legally required to, and we may as well wait until that requirement comes up and do it then, is what we had decided. Wait in 6 months or something, but.
Right, I mean, I think that was generally true. I mean, I think we wanna, you know, the question, we could put it off another year, I think, if we just do it, but I think my recommendation would be the sooner the better, so that would be different, so.
The thing I want to avoid is having to do it twice. So if we have the requirement that we have to do it for the.
For the state or the feds, I think.
Yeah,
No,
the
it
ARPA
was
money,
because of.
for the ARPA money, I want to make sure we do that one correctly. And if that one can be done now, then sure, maybe let's do it sooner. But if I don't want to do one now and then have ARPA say.
No, I think it's a very good point, and I'll check, and
Yeah.
obviously. If we set aside some funds, we will do it in a way that we cover our bases
Yeah,
in terms
okay.
of that.
Right.
We're on a, you know, we're on a non-calendar year, so I don't know. You know,
July 1,
sorry, I
July
mean, we're on July 1
Business.
this fiscal year, and I can't remember how those things mesh,
Okay,
but.
yeah, if you could check on the
Yes.
ARPA requirement and see if we can meet it. But with an audit this year.
Yeah, I think Charlie, I see, has his hand up.
Charlie?
Yes, I do have a question on the budget. I have never seen any of the numbers ever. I would like to know, two things. One of which is in the budget that you're considering right now, what is the compensation for the town office and specifically for the town clerk?
The town clerk,
Secondly, I would like to know what the bottom line number is. What is the total number of dollars expected to be expended in the FY25 budget for the select board?
Okay, great, we can answer that one second.
right, okay, no, Charlie, in terms of things are a bit helter-skelter this year in terms of getting things out. So the traditionally, I think we would have had this budget months ago and we would have it discussed in regular order at town meeting. So we will, we're not trying to, hide anything and.
Why don't we just answer this question?
Yeah, no, the answer, but.
Well, instead of assuming that you need to explain behind why he's asking. Why don't you just-
No, I think, Jim, I think it's important to explain why he's asking, because I think that there's a tone of, hey, what are you guys, why haven't you released the numbers, what's going on? That's what I said,
Yeah.
so
Point of
I'm,
information,
Yeah,
my understanding is that this discussion is for you all, for the select board
Right.
to vote for the budget to then be put forward to the.
At the town meeting, and we would vote on it at the town meeting.
So I don't know if perhaps that helps, but it
Yeah.
might just help to clarify the
right, so.
purpose of the
Charlie knows
discussion
that.
for the select board to then.
Charlie-
The town
is
is.
so Charlie, the answer to your question is that in this budget we're looking at right now, the town clerk treasurer for the 24-25 year is 56,511. And the assistant clerk treasurer is 56,000, and the total budget at the bottom is.
It's one,
Go ahead,
sorry.
it's 1,464,936.
Didn't you ask about those?
Which represents roughly a 5% increase from last year.
Yes, Charles.
I have two comments. First of all, last year was 1.205 million. And what you just quoted is 1.464 million.
Right.
That isn't
I have,
5 or 6%.
I have
Just a comment.
last year's-
Secondly,
1.
I would like to know, the amounts for the town clerk and assistant town clerk are consistent with last year. Who set those compensations? Both state statute and town charter say that the annual meeting sets those compensations.
Yes, and you're going to do that. We're not setting it tonight. We're just deciding what to put in front of the town. We're not deciding
Who does-
anything.
Yeah, who decided to put that number there?
I guess we did.
We did, we had earlier budget meetings and the the line item for 22-23 for the town clerk treasurer is 55,000. For the upcoming year, it's gonna be 56,511. In 22-23, the amount for the assistant clerk treasurer was 70,000. In the upcoming year, it's gonna be 56,000. So. Proposed, that's what we're talking about. But we need to get through this budget tonight ourselves, and you'll have plenty of time to ask these questions at town meeting. When we present it,
I appreciate that. Thank you for the information I've received.
okay. Is this thing posted on the agenda, on the webpage now?
I haven't posted this.
I was just
I
curious.
will, I mean, whatever you guys want, I will.
No, I'm not saying
get
it
you.
should, I was just curious, hasn't been.
No, it hasn't been because the number, it's part of the challenge,
I understand
just
why.
the numbers have been all over the place.
It's a point of information. What
Right,
the-
okay,
the-
no, I just want to.
Are we perhaps ready to vote on approving this with the one change of 80,000 to 100,000 for the equipment budget for the roads?
Was there anything else we need to talk about?
Well, the question of, would you consider, in terms of the audit, using ARPA funds for that?
So what is the balance of our ARPA funds now?
I think it's roughly 90. You see, the problem is it's hard to figure out what was committed and what wasn't, but I think it's about 90,000. There's plenty. It's a significant amount. It's not going to empty the fund.
No, but we had a committee that made recommendations for how to spend.
I understand.
This wasn't part of that recommendation.
I understand, and I'd say that there's maybe, let's just say a ballpark of 90 left. I see that there's like 120 in the account, but I think some of that is already accounted for. So I think that unaccounted for is about 90. This would represent at 30 or something like that.
Okay.
But here's why I bring it up. If you're not going to use the ARPA funds, I really would like it to be in the budget.
Okay. So
This year's budget, the one we're working on right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just in case, I don't know, I'd like to get the reason, Tim, is just, there's an uncertainty about where things are, and when Linda Wells looks at me and says, we need to get an outside set of eyes looking at a lot of this stuff.
I agree with you, I just feel like things are so out of whack right now that it almost makes more sense in my mind, I could be wrong, to take whatever's left of this year, which is already half over basically, isn't it? And get our house in order and then have an audit once we have our information organized in a way that an auditor can make sense of. Things are so in disarray that I think we would save money in the long term perhaps by having an easier audit if we can do some internal organizing and budget it for the next budget year after this one. If we have to do it for the ARPA thing, then we gotta talk about that next meeting, I guess, and approve it, but.
why don't we, instead of deciding tonight about whether we're gonna authorize an audit this year or not, why don't we wait for Graham to find out whether, the audit that's required by ARPA can be done now, or must be done later when the ARPA money time period is over. And if it can be done now, then we can talk about those issues you're talking about. Yeah, fine.
Just quickly to say that as being one of the people who made a proposal for ARPA funds, it was a deep and exhausting process, and it was for the committee that did that approval. And I agree with you that the commitments for the hoped for commitments that were made, if the money was available to a bunch of different town projects, is still needs to be accounted for, and we don't know.
That's another reason why I don't want to make a decision tonight about using ARPA money, because I want to look at what the committee recommended and what we promised people we would spend out of that already, and what did we commit? And if we've already committed all of it to be spent on various projects, even though we haven't spent it yet, then we have to decide if we're willing to pull those back and use it for this. So we need to get more information.
I would further questions, personally, I know with school budget stuff that I've dealt with a lot, there's very specific instructions on how the money can be spent. So is ARPA funds even allowed to be spent on?
I thought, from the preliminary checks that I've made, yes.
Okay.
All right, so you'll do the research.
So right now, we're just talking about a $20,000 increase.
Yes.
In the budget. Look at that. There are two, let's see, there are two.
Yeah, Eric?
So the 14,000 for Linda, is that staying or coming out?
That would be staying,
That's staying.
and
That's staying.
we will, yes, and Eric, obviously, you know, if there's some, you know, Charlie had raised some concerns. If anything comes up, I will immediately contact the select board and see if we can put things, some of it in this year's budget, you know, and handle it that way. But I mean, I just want everybody to know we are, you know, the select board and the town clerk are working hard together to make sure everything is in order.
I'm just making sure I have the right numbers, and I didn't notice the gravel and the sand, I didn't see any change in this budget.
Well, I think that you got, it's the gravel should be,
It's 100,000 still.
oh, it is.
That's
Then-
sand
then-
is still.
So what page is it on?
I'm sorry,
6 page.
Gravel is 100, sand is 55.
yeah, okay, it actually, sorry, that's, thank you, Eric, for catching that. My computer, when we had this discussion,
So which of those
my
have you
computer crashed and because the power went out, so it should be, the gravel should be 110
Okay,
and
Sand?
the sand should be 50,
okay,
So the same.
so that's plus
Okay.
5.
okay. Right, so does that changes the bottom?
Yeah,
line
that
number
changes,
then?
that increases the bottom line, so we're at 20 and then another 5, so that's
Total of 25,000.
25,
I thought
correct.
was what that number
Yes.
is. And then you were explaining the difference between the number that Charlie mentioned for last year and the number you have for last year.
Yeah, I'm just using what the numbers that I'm working with on, from, you know, from Nemrick, and we're on the former town
Okay.
clerks, I
Well, we
can't,
approved the budget based on a number that we had when the budget was approved last time. Our current taxes are based on, that's the number you should be using to compare.
yeah, no, I know, and I think that whatever was published might have been off
Okay,
last year, I don't know, I'll look into
You're gonna
it,
look
I
into
don't
it.
know why there's. Yeah, I, Charlie, I don't know the answers to why that number would be different, I'm not, you know, digging out old books, I'm looking at what I'm presented with on the computer.
so we're adding $25,000 to the bottom line number you have.
Yeah,
All right, so I'm adding it up now.
They don't want to do it.
And that number's gonna have to be changed on the 22.
correct. Adding
Assuming I
25.
did my, the current number at the bottom of your spreadsheet is $1,464,936.86. We're gonna add $25,000 to that, and my math gets that to. I'll handle this right, just a second. Oh, good, if you have that. then.
Yeah, I mean, I can propose with that. Fine, but
No, I think I have a 1,464,961.86.
no, that can't be
That
right,
can't be right.
because that's the same amount almost, or slightly
It's
less.
$25,000 more than 900 than what it was.
One, you said one. Oh, 400,
I
sorry,
can-
I'm kind of
I can do
dyslexic,
it.
I'm.
I'll get out my calculator. See if we come up with the same number.
Yeah, that will be.
40.
Plus 20,000.
It was 25,000.
One, four, eight, nine, 936.
Yes, 86, yeah, I didn't have the right number. 489, yes, so we need a motion to approve that number.
I move that we approve the budget for the total amount of $1,489,936.86 to be voted on at town meeting.
Okay, all in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
Just in terms of the type of discrepancy that Charlie is pointing out, that's exactly the kind of thing that, you know, we've encountered all through the process where something is supposed to be match something else, and then, oh my gosh, we're off. You know, so that's, Charlie, that's, you know, if I'll indeed look at what we published and look at what why the numbers that I was presented with are different. No, I see, I don't doubt that's wrong. I'm just telling you what I'm using the actual numbers that, were presented to me, that have been on the spreadsheets and everything,
Right, but
so.
when it comes to telling the town what the percentage increase is over the previous budget, you have to compare this budget that we're approving today to the budget that was in. the last annual report.
Exactly, and I'll
that's
look
what
at the town, I'll look
That'll
at
be
the
more
town
than
report.
5%, I think it's whatever Charlie said it was.
Yeah, and that's probably,
Right.
that harsher number is probably closer to the truth.
Right. Okay. Anything
Do you have
else?
another question, Charlie, or is your hand still up from last time?
I think his hands out.
Yeah,
It's a
he's
long
got
hand.
another.
It's down.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Anyways,
Anybody else have any questions?
I just have one more question.
Sure.
What about the guy that was the animal officer, the animal patrol?
Well, we have a budget item in there for that.
We were supposed to meet, we had a letter,
Yeah.
a meeting with him and stuff.
You're thinking of the constables.
That's what the
Is
truth.
that on our,
It's on your agenda.
that's on the agenda?
Yeah, it is.
We got a lot, man. We're on like number 4.
Okay, we're done with the budget for tonight, right? So we're gonna move on to scheduling a town meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
What was the date you
we
proposed?
proposed May 21st, which is a
So,
Tuesday.
A little bit of color on, sorry, go ahead.
I'll just wait till you're done. Sorry.
Well,
Okay.
okay, so why May 21st? The challenge is there are many statutory requirements in terms of posting and notifying town meeting. May 21st, falls on a Tuesday. Traditionally, we've had these votes on a Tuesday. The problem is that if it's shifted, like I know that there was talk of having it over a weekend. Here's the challenge. We have it on a Saturday, which is controversial, by the way. There are a lot of people who are against that.
Right.
So you wanna,
You're one of them.
I'm just in a queue, so.
Yeah.
right, so there are a lot of people who are adamantly for it, and there are a lot of people who are adamantly against it. The problem is Memorial Day weekend is the week of that thing, so that if you're talking about moving it to a Saturday, it would have to be a week from Memorial Day weekend, that Saturday. Here's the problem there. We have a safety inspection that expires in June for the lift in the town hall opera house. And believe it or not, it's hard to get things inspected in a timely manner, and I would rather not, sort of open up that can of worms. And I think the closer and the faster we get the town meeting done, the better. In fact, if the select board votes to have the town meeting on the 21st to fulfill statutory requirements, I am going to post that tonight.
Okay.
Are you stuck on the 21st because it's the Tuesday and that's the traditional day?
Correct.
Because it sounded like Jim's gonna be out of town, doing it on a wacky day, why does it matter if it's on a Thursday compared to a Tuesday?
I think it's fine if you want to move it further. You
In
can't
that
move
same
it,
week.
you can't move it
So we
further
move it to the Wednesday or the Thursday that week.
if you prefer. I mean, it's a,
I mean, the problem is I have a longstanding medical procedure that's scheduled for the 21st that I don't want to lose the opportunity to have that done. And so it's been in place for months and it's necessary and somewhat urgent. So I really don't want to address it, but I hate to, I could just not be here.
No.
That doesn't seem like a good idea.
You only have 3
Yeah, right.
See you all there.
Yeah. So if you want to do it on the Wednesday, the 22nd, that would be fine with me.
well, if you're getting out of surgery, do you want to do it?
No, it'll be fine. It's mine.
Okay,
It's just.
Yeah.
I just want to do.
Okay.
It should be fine.
Should we hear from our other question here before we decide on dates?
Yes, well,
I just strongly advocate for not having a in-person vote on weekdays during the day.
Okay.
It's highly inequitable.
Right.
County meeting day is already highly inequitable. I am fortunate that I work for the state, and therefore I have the day off.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no possible way I
Right.
could attend. So it ended up only being certain people who are privileged enough to go to a meeting in person
Right.
at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. Last year, when we went through this, we voted to have it on a Saturday, before we did the second
Right.
town meeting. Plenty of other towns have actually voted to move their town meeting or go entirely to Australian ballot, so I don't know where it's controversial versus that I think most people don't think Tuesday at 9 AM or 10 AM is a convenient time to
Right.
conduct
I was
town
assuming
meeting
it would
must
be
be
in
done.
the evenings.
So I would
So,
strongly advocate for thinking about the equity issues here.
Now, I proposed a weekend day a while back, and there was a lot of pushback to that, because people
Yeah.
didn't want to go out their weekends.
People were pretty upset about no matter what we said.
I have
did
an
not-
important, I have an important technical question.
Yeah,
Historical fact, we did not have more people showing up on a Saturday.
Yeah,
Just-
right.
Well, it was also the
I'm
second
not-
town meeting
I'm not
we passed, I
against
mean,
it.
we have a great track record. Right,
The last year, in order to have remote participation at all, in other words, for people to see it from a distance. It required assembling a technical crew of camera people and that kind of stuff. But what was very clear at the time was that people could not vote
right.
by remote. And as long as you are aware of that, you can hear what's going on, but you can't vote by remote by state statute, as far as I
I
understand.
don't plan to be remote, I would tend to be in person, but
Yeah,
so I've
in
been taking
person
sick
too.
hours to come vote this time, just like.
So my idea is Wednesday or Thursday that week at 6 PM. Is that outrageous?
It could be 4 hours.
Is it that long?
It could be.
Yeah, I mean, it probably will be with everything.
Well, I don't know, we're voting on the budget, and then we've got a few other things. I mean, I think the evenings are a great idea, because I think more people could come then, although then people have issues with that too. It depends on who you are and what your schedule is.
I think anytime that we don't have an Australian ballot option, it's inconvenient for most people, and just to vote is highly inequitable.
Well, I mean, we could make these items Australian ballot, but people don't like, especially don't like the budget, because they like to be able to discuss the line items and the proposed changes. And if you have an Australian ballot, you don't have an opportunity to put them up or down, vote on.
Right, but then only a very small fraction of voters are disabled actually.
I know this, it's pluses and minuses. That's got it.
Information,
Yeah.
as I recall, the reason the second meeting. Happened on a Saturday is because it was decided on a floor vote.
Right,
So it is within the parameter of the meeting to decide you're gonna decide when this meeting is.
right.
But it is within the parameters and the power of the meeting to decide that next year. People want it on a Saturday, or they wanna keep it on a Tuesday, that's within the prerogative of the meeting, that's.
Cause last year we were technically adjourning and postponing the meeting, that's different than scheduling the.
First, we had it on town meeting day,
Right.
but then that had to be abbreviated because the warnings didn't come out.
Right,
And so there were a number of discussions that happened,
yeah,
as I recall, but pertinent to this question, there was an amendment from the floor. About, I think that the folks connected to the town clerk's office, as I remember it, wanted the meeting to be on a Tuesday
Right.
or something. There was an amendment from the floor that moved it to a Saturday. I'm just saying it's within the prerogative of the meeting next time. I hope people realize that if they want next year's meeting, not the one coming up, assumedly on May 21st, that can be a decision made by the constituency on the floor for next year, if they so choose.
is that possible without like, is that a charter? change?
Without it being warned,
Is that a charter change though, or like, is that possible? to just
I
say-
don't think so, but I don't wanna answer legal questions.
Like, if,
It's a good legal question, I'm not gonna answer that.
For the sake of.
I think
What about Monday the 20th? Do people think Monday's a bad day?
No, Monday is, we're not, it's not possible.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Oh, it's okay, it's Tuesday.
We can't go any other.
Well, I'm okay with Tuesday or Thursday in the evening. Wednesday or Thursday, I mean, 22nd or 23rd in the evening. Is that too late for you?
Whatever, I mean, you know.
There's a very small amount of people here to make this decision for a lot of people, which is kind of uncomfortable,
Well, we have to, it's the
We
three
have
of
to.
us have to make it, based on our
Yeah.
judgment about what we think is.
but I'm not gonna be upset no matter what. Right?
Yes, no matter which way we
Like,
go.
it's like doing a wedding.
But even if we kept it on the 21st, if you had it in the evening, then I could
Can I make a request?
Yeah.
May I make a big request, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm guilty of this too. If anyone's gonna speak, would they identify themselves for the people who are watching and for the record? Because so far we haven't been doing that. I've been guilty of not identifying themselves.
Luckily, Kristen can recognize your voice, I think.
I'm dying, I'm gonna deny I was here.
And for Kristen's benefit, the woman who's been speaking recently here in the room is Mo, what Lynch, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, yes, that's a good point, Mike.
So, I move that we hold town meeting on.
Well, wait a minute, so we could have it in the evening, we could even have it on the evening of the 21st. If you wanted to.
You're having.
It's really minor, but it's just, I
think the next day, I think just one
The
day.
22nd is fine, yeah,
Second, in the evening,
in the evening.
Like 5:30 or something, or is that too early?
Whatever you think,
6.
say,
I can be there.
I would give yourself a little bit of a cushion by having it a little bit earlier. I think people are less able to reason, and especially on anything important, the later it gets. So if you start at 5:30, people might bring food to the meeting, they might actually get, whatever, let them solve it, but I think
if
starting.
you start 5:30, but then if it takes 4 hours, it's not too bad,
Yeah.
it's not. too
Yeah,
late.
my only concern is
I don't think
some
it-
people get out of work.
I know, they might not even get
Yeah,
here, depends on where they work.
Yeah.
So you want to do 5:30 then, is that what we're deciding?
Yeah.
Now you can make.
I move that we hold town meeting at 5:30 PM on May 22nd.
On Wednesday, May 22nd, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Is there a draft agenda to this meeting as of yet? When does
No,
that
no,
get decided?
Yeah,
It'll be
no, there's a warning, a draft warning, but
it's probably.
we haven't reviewed it ourselves yet, with the draft.
Okay. Are you gonna do that at this meeting?
Next, or soon, I think, yeah. Aren't we? Or not?
Follow up on muddy sidewalks on School Street is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, when do we
You
go
have
to,
you have to vote to approve the warning.
yeah, so do we have.
There is.
So is there another copy of the warning that I can see? please?
Go with that, I'm interested in.
Great, oh yeah, this thing was on the table here, but we also emailed it around. Did you look at it?
Yes, but I was under the impression from earlier in the meeting, we made some changes to a couple things so that the warning needs to be.
The warning, what I printed out was adjusted from what I sent you. So
Okay,
you
maybe-
Took out
maybe-
the ones
you
that,
have it in, you have
took
it
out the ones that we said what should be.
There were two that shouldn't be in there. This is.
Oh, there it is. We can look it over quickly. I would do, you can find me.
We have to change the dates that it's warned for and the budget numbers.
See,
Right.
there was something.
Yeah, yeah, but other than that, we can change that,
Yeah,
we can make those changes now, so we're gonna change it to. May 22nd, 5:30, right? Then we'll change the budget numbers that we just approved, we'll go in instead,
yeah.
and then otherwise, it's the rest of it is just the wording.
I move we approve the warning with the updates that we've made during this select board meeting.
Which are the
To-
change of the date and the time and the two numbers that we discussed earlier.
Which adds 25,000, so it's adding 25,000 to what's on that. Plus, changing the date to
Changing the date.
Wednesday, May 22nd at 5:30 PM.
Right, so the motion then that we're taking up is that we're gonna approve this warning. With the two changes, one, change the date to May 22nd at 5:30 PM. And also increase the total budget by $25,000. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah.
That's the
motion I made.
Yeah, that's the motion that Tim made. All in favor?
Alright,
Aye. Okay. Thanks, Brian. You have more on here?
No, I think that's it. I'm gonna be spending the rest of my night trying to figure out why the number was different in last year's.
maybe take it up in the morning.
I'm a little annoyed, but it's part of the
All right,
course.
so we're up to muddy sidewalks, I think. Right?
Yeah, so I reached out to the state boards whatever number it was, and they never got back to me. I got a message that the guy was on vacation or something, and I never received a follow-up. I think we need to put that off again, so until next meeting.
Okay. So why don't you, we leave it this way, when you are ready, when you hear from them and you're ready to put it on the agenda, send an email to Kristen.
Yeah, I need to
And she'll
email them
put-
again,
and then
probably.
she'll-
Well, will you remind me, Graham, what ward is in charge of the sort of ward number for that piece of road between here and Maplefield?
It's a district.
My guy, thank you.
District 6, District 6, sorry. It's the people who are responsible. We keep on going back and forth between District 6 and different District
Yeah.
7, but I'm pretty sure it's District 6.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
Once you-
That counts.
I'll do that tonight or tomorrow.
He oversees everything, but the day-to-day basis is somebody else.
Will do.
Well, if it doesn't make it to the next one, we do one after that. Then define expectations of constant position. Can we skip that over that for right now?
I don't know if we're all maybe on the same page, but I feel inclined to just get rid of the constable position.
Yeah, so, I wanna think about
I
that.
think, okay, so you're not there.
We don't
When
have.
I say skip over it, I didn't mean, we don't want.
In other words, if, I thought Tim's concern might be, well, it's in the budget or whatever, but it doesn't have to be expended.
Yeah.
So, no, I didn't mean we should skip it for tonight, I just meant, I didn't wanna talk about it now, I wanna push it to later in the evening. Cause I wanna get to the, designated select board liaison to the emergency management director. So that's Michael. Right?
Yes.
That's your issue, so what is it you want
Yeah.
to do?
So we've had 3 either planned for or actual disasters in the first year. I didn't have any in the prior, this is my 4th, I'm finishing my 4th year in emergency management. This has been pretty intense.
Yeah,
And so what I needed to have is just a person who volunteers on the select board to be the person I communicate with, even if it has to be day to day. Because between select board meetings, a disaster doesn't do it by the calendar, and it just does it when it does it. And so I need to have somebody. I was communicating with Riley for a while, then it was you who was
Right.
designated to be that person, and I just need to know who is the person with this select board.
yeah, so, and like these two guys, unless they wanna do it,
I just don't think I have the time to
I
do
didn't think you did,
It's
but
like-
did you wanna do it? Like you did, you could.
justice.
I think give it a try, sure.
Yeah, okay,
So we
Well,
can-
last time we talked about you,
Yeah,
you wanted somebody with more experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was actually hoping that because,
Why don't you do both of us?
well, all right, if that's okay with you.
Well, I got that email for the most part, right?
Yeah, okay.
Send them to me and Patty, and then we'll respond.
I mean, I would love to be in the loop. I'll read the email. I don't want you to rely on me. I got a lot.
Well, let me put it differently. I will communicate with all of you,
Yes,
Yeah.
but I need to feel that.
But I'll make sure you get an
But
answer.
that's,
You're sort of like the go-to guy.
You'll get an answer when you need it.
Okay.
that is kind of
Even if
generally
you don't just
a
know.
big thing with all the messages we get. I feel like I'm like, am I supposed to respond to that?
Yes, yeah, you know, it can be like that, so yeah,
okay, so we'll kind of,
okay,
Okay, so just email all of us.
good.
If it needs to be a phone call, call me.
okay, that sounds great.
Alright. Approve review committee to work with V-Trans. We got a whole bunch of people for that. Can we put that one off to next, cause I haven't dug out all the applications and I'm not sure I'm ready. Yeah, this budget thing is just taking up a lot of time.
This is gonna be a long-term project. and-
Yeah, and right, it's not until 28, so I think we could kick that to the next meeting. Okay, and then. Approve, Alice Merrill to work on grant applications for.
I'm here to speak to that.
Okay,
The Community Foundation grant is actually amazingly generous.
right,
They are putting not just up the money for the generator, but they have subsequently, that was the first offer, but they're subsequently also paying for the cost of moving the old generator to the municipal building.
right,
For upgrading the understage area, to build a pet shelter, to get air conditioning for the ground floor, and to potentially pay for the paving of the ground,
yeah.
the handicap parking space in front. And so Alice is basically poised to interact with them on a regular basis and get it up to the grant completion. We're on a time frame now where some of these things have to be done before the end of June, and one of them has to be done. Well, actually approved by the 1st of May, so it'd be great to have them.
Okay, so you want to make a motion?
I was thinking-
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve Alice Merrill's work on grant application to the Vermont Community Foundation.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great, thank you. Thanks for doing it. Approve road appointment Michael Bingham to hire Mike Nolan as needed for maintenance during the 2 weeks of Sean Alvin's paternity leave on April or whenever it is.
Yeah.
In either April or May of 2024. We discussed this at an earlier meeting.
Yeah,
And
I believe you guys already voted on
and
it.
we already voted on it, so I think
So
it's
that's good.
already done,
That's
yeah, we don't
good.
have to do that.
Yeah.
Approve highway department to hire GM Bowen Excavating Contractor Inc. at an expense of $5,309.38 to replace failing catch basin in the corner of Creamery and Main Streets. That's your issue too, or?
Yeah, there's a catch basin right here that's failing, the ground's falling apart, but I got a bid from them, I reached out to 2 other contractors with no response, and it's been a month now, so. I mean, it's kind of an emergency deal, and we have money in the budget for it, so.
Okay,
Okay,
Needed
that's
your
fine.
approval.
all right, so you want to make a motion?
Do you want?
You want to do it, Patty?
Sure. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve Foreman Michael Bingham to hire Mike Nolan.
No, the next one.
Approve.
I'm gonna make a motion, I'm sorry, to approve highway department to hire GM Bowen excavation contractor IMC at expense of $5,309.38 to replace failing catch basin in the corner of Creamery and Main Streets.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good, that's what went, unanimous as well, so appoint Maureen Lynch to the Conservation Commission, anybody want to make a motion for
I
that?
make a motion that we appoint Lynch to the Conservation Commission.
Maureen Lynch to the Conservation, okay, great, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appoint, and the next one, appoint. Committee.
Leave that one. Oh, okay. I make a motion that we appoint Tom Moultrie to the Hazard Mitigation Committee.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Did you vote?
Yeah.
Did you vote?
Aye. Aye.
Aye, okay, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You made the motion. didn't you?
Okay.
Approval of warrants and liquor licenses, we need a motions for that as well, I think, do we have any? Oh, yeah, counts. Well, there aren't any listed. So that's just a carryover, I think, accounts payable, we need a motion for that one.
Do we have to approve these liquor licenses?
There aren't any
I
listed.
thought there wasn't anything in the.
Oh, they're down
Yeah,
below?
yeah.
Oh, I see, one's down, okay, go ahead. Oh, yeah, there they are, they're listed down below. Do you want to make the motion?
Okay, I move that we approve liquor license for BAS LLC, first class, third class, and outside consumption. Also Positive Pie, first class bar, third class bar, and outside consumption. As well as Winooski Valley Co-op, second class.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye. All right, and then the accounts payable,
I move we approve accounts payable for February 7th, March 26th, and April 4th, and 2 dated April 9th, 2024.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, then the payroll,
Where's that one? I approve
Yeah.
that we. Where is it?
what payroll,
I approve that we.
right there, there's the payroll there.
I approve that we pass the payroll March 28th. April 4th and 11th, 2024.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Draft minutes of March 25th. We are, can you approve those, people look at them, if you haven't looked at them, you want to wait till next time, we can do that.
I move we approve the draft minutes March 25th, 2024.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, was there anything you're gonna go back to, or are we done for time?
Well, there's one that I just need.
Yeah.
To sign, I have, this is just some roads.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But they're just, if you could
So
just
all
sign.
of us need to sign them?
Yeah, I just.
So that's fine.
So
Yeah.
this is for, the structures grant that I'm putting in for repairing, a problem culvert on East Hill. And it's just, this is the, we're in compliance with, road, standards, and, we're in compliance with, just to sort of acknowledge that we're following the
Great.
I was curious to know if you're going to come back to the constant.
Not tonight. Next time. It's gonna be on the great, thank you very much. You want to apply for it?
Absolutely not, but if you want the position to continue, so I want to, we covered it.
Yeah.
Michael, there's another class. For the passion.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, so we're done?
Yeah.
I move we adjourn. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. I must forgot one. Most important part. Where that. Oh, okay, that's Steve.
So, you know, they're allowed on the floor to like move to change the town meeting to Australian ballot. I think we're coming from there. I see the other, I see both sides of the argument.
So you did, right? Hey, you didn't sign that. So maybe more.
I have to look it up.
Your microphone is still on.
See why.
What is the one?
Your microphone.
Yeah, we can show.
Your meeting is not, it's still going on.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'm talking business.
Hey, Mo? Did you happen to attend the upper board?
That's just Dan, so my husband Dan, so I don't.
I know you were at the last one though, so I just thought it might have been.
No, let me see, he, it's on our shared calendar, it's next Monday, is the next offer board. 6:30 to 8.
Okay, well, I guess I could, I asked you.